Life is temporary. Purpose is eternal. Life, in all its brilliance, is still a fleeting breath. We live as though our days are endless, as though time bows to our schedules, our plans, our ambitions. Yet deep down, we know an unshakable truth. Life is temporary. The clock does not pause for our hesitation, our fears, or our procrastination. Every moment that passes is a moment that will never return. Every sunrise we witness is one less sunrise we will ever see. And every heartbeat carries us closer to the mystery that waits beyond our final breath. Because life is temporary, we must confront the weight and urgency of purpose. Purpose is not about the number of years we live, but about the meaning we place into those years. It is the invisible thread that ties our days together and transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary significance. While life is fragile, purpose is powerful. While our lives fade, our purpose has the potential to echo long after we are gone. Purpose is the one thing that can outlive us. Many people misunderstand life's brevity. They see it as something to fear, something that steals joy and adds pressure. But understanding the temporary nature of life is not meant to frighten us, it is meant to awaken us. When you recognize that your time is limited, you stop wasting it on things that do not matter. You stop clinging to bitterness. You stop hiding your gifts. You stop postponing the life you were meant to live. Realizing life's temporary nature doesn't shrink life, it actually deepens it. It adds clarity, urgency, and direction. There's a difference between existing and living. Existing is simply moving through the days without asking deeper questions, without pursuing meaning, without seeking growth. But living, truly living, is choosing to fill your days with something that stretches beyond yourself. Purpose transforms existence into life. It moves you from survival to significance. Purpose is not found by accident. It is something you must search for, uncover, and align yourself with intentionally. Some people think purpose is something loud and public like fame, recognition, or achievement. But purpose is often quiet, humble, and deeply personal. It may be found in the way you love your family, the way you treat others, the encouragement you offer, the strength you share, the hope you give, or the problems you commit yourself to solving. Purpose does not need an audience. It needs authenticity. Because life is temporary, the value of purpose becomes even clearer. Material things fade. Titles disappear. Wealth changes hands. Achievements get forgotten. But purpose leaves fingerprints on the world that time cannot erase. If you live with purpose, people will remember your kindness long after they forget your accomplishments. They will remember your character long after they forget your successes. They will remember the way you made them feel long after they forget the words you said. Purpose is eternal because it shapes others, not just yourself. Life's temporary nature also reminds us that purpose must be lived now, not later. Too many people wait for the perfect time to start living with intention. They say they will pursue their dreams when life calms down, when they feel more ready, when circumstances improve. But life rarely announces the perfect moment. Waiting becomes a habit, and suddenly years slip away. Every moment you delay is a moment you cannot reclaim. Purpose demands action, not tomorrow, but today. Purpose requires courage. It takes courage to step out of comfort, to challenge your fears, to give your life to something greater than yourself. It takes courage to admit that your time is limited and that you must use it wisely. But courage becomes easier when you understand how short life truly is. When you recognize that your days are numbered, wasting them becomes unbearable. Fear loses its power and purpose takes its place. Understanding that life is temporary also shifts the way we view failure. When you know your time is finite, you begin to see that failure is not the end, but simply a part of the journey. You no longer avoid risks out of fear of embarrassment or loss. Instead, you take action because you know your time is too precious to waste on hesitation. Failure becomes a teacher, not a prison. It becomes a stepping stone toward fulfilling the purpose you were created to pursue. Purpose also shapes the way you react to challenges. When life feels fragile, difficulties become opportunities to build resilience and character. Hard times no longer seem random or unfair. They become meaningful. They mold you. They sharpen you. They prepare you for the impact you are meant to make. Every struggle becomes a chapter in the story of your purpose. Life's temporary nature also strengthens your relationships. When you know your time with people is limited, you stop taking them for granted. You start saying the things you've held back. You give your time more generously. You love more deeply. You forgive more quickly. Life grows richer when you stop assuming you will always have tomorrow. Purpose creates peace. When you live knowing that you are fulfilling the reason you're here, you carry a sense of clarity and direction that cannot be shaken by fear or uncertainty. You wake up with meaning. You rest at night with fulfillment. You walk through life with confidence, not because you have everything under control, but because you know your life has direction. Life is temporary, yes, but that truth should not paralyze you. It should empower you. It should make you bold, focused, compassionate, and intentional. When you accept that your time on earth is limited, you begin to cherish each moment. You begin to fill your days with courage and conviction. You begin to live in a way that ensures your impact will outlast your lifespan. Purpose once discovered and lived does not fade when your life ends. It is the part of you that life cannot take away. It is the part of you that continues to speak, continue to inspire, continue to matter, even when you no longer walk this earth. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful forces a human being can ever experience, yet it is also one of the most difficult to practice. We often imagine forgiveness is something we offer to others, a gift we reluctantly give when someone has wronged us. But in reality, forgiveness is first and foremost a gift we give to ourselves. It is the key that unlocks the chains we didn't realize we were dragging. It is the quiet release that allows the heart to breathe again after carrying the heavy weight of resentment for far too long. Resentment is a silent poison. It creeps into the mind slowly, justifying itself as protection, as strength, as justice. But the longer it lingers, the deeper it roots itself into our emotional soil. It begins shaping how we think, how we speak, how we relate to others, and even how we see ourselves. Unforgiveness does not simply stay in one corner of the heart. It spreads. It influences our energy, our confidence, our outlook on life. It makes joy feel distant. It makes peace feel impossible. It binds us to the past so tightly that we can no longer step into the future with freedom. Forgiveness is freedom because it breaks this emotional and spiritual captivity. It cuts through the illusions that tell us holding a grudge somehow protects us from pain. In truth, holding on to resentment only multiplies pain. It forces us to relive hurt repeatedly. Every time we recall the wrongdoing, we experience the sting again, as though the wound is never healed. Forgiveness stops that cycle. It allows the wound to close. It allows the heart to mend. It allows the mind to rest. Forgiveness is not the same as forgetting. It is not pretending the hurt never happened. It is not excusing the wrong or erasing responsibility. Forgiveness does not deny the pain. It acknowledges it fully. It says, yes, this hurt me. Yes, this changed me, but I will not let this pain define the rest of my life. Forgiveness is strength because it chooses healing over bitterness. It chooses growth over stagnation. It chooses peace over pride. Many people resist forgiveness because they misunderstand who it is for. They believe that forgiving someone who wronged them is the same as letting that person off the hook. But forgiveness does not erase justice, nor does it eliminate accountability. It simply frees you from being emotionally imprisoned by someone else's actions. It frees you from carrying what is not yours to carry anymore. When you forgive, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your inner peace. You reclaim control over your emotional landscape. Forgiveness is freedom because it breaks the past grip on your present. It stops yesterday from controlling today. You cannot live a fulfilled, purposeful life while dragging the weight of old pain behind you. That weight slows you down, exhausts you, and blinds you to new opportunities and relationships. When you choose forgiveness, you are choosing to walk lighter, to walk clearer, to walk stronger. Practicing forgiveness also changes the way you see yourself. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is not someone else, it is ourselves. We carry guilt, shame, regrets, and mistakes like heavy stones in our hearts. We replay the moments we failed, the opportunities we missed, the words we shouldn't have spoken, the actions we wish we could undo. But just as we must forgive others to experience freedom, we must also forgive ourselves. Self-forgiveness is not self-excuse, it is self-release. It is understanding that growth is impossible without grace. Forgiveness also deepens relationships. Every meaningful relationship, friendship, family, marriage, partnership requires forgiveness. Humans are imperfect, and where imperfection exists, misunderstandings and hurt will eventually appear. Forgiveness keeps relationships alive. It restores what bitterness tries to destroy. It builds trust, compassion, humility, and understanding. Without forgiveness, even the strongest relationships crumble under the pressure of unspoken wounds. Forgiveness is freedom because it teaches us how to love. True love cannot exist where resentment dominates. Love requires openness, vulnerability, and trust, none of which can survive in a heart filled with bitterness. When you forgive, you make room for love to grow again. You allow the heart to soften. You allow connection to deepen. You allow kindness to flow through you without resistance. Forgiveness also transforms the way you respond to pain. Instead of reacting with anger, you begin responding with wisdom. Instead of allowing hurt to harden you, you let it refine you. You become someone who sees beyond the moment, who understands that people act from their own wounds, fears, and confusion. You begin to see humanity not as perfect beings who never fail, but as flawed individuals who sometimes stumble. This perspective does not justify wrongdoing, but it helps you release attachment to the hurt. Forgiveness teaches strength. It teaches you how to bend without breaking. It teaches you how to move forward even when life has thrown you backward. It teaches you how to rise above situations that could have destroyed your spirit. Anyone can hold a grudge. Grudges require no effort, no growth, no maturity. But forgiving someone who wronged you requires depth, awareness, and courage. It requires emotional discipline. It requires spiritual insight. It requires a level of strength that grudges will never give. Forgiveness is freedom because it opens the door to inner peace. And peace is the greatest gift you can ever experience. Peace is not just the absence of conflict, it is the presence of clarity. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing nothing, and no one has the power to control your emotions without your permission. When you forgive, you regain that peace. You stop allowing old wounds to dictate your current identity. You stop letting painful memories shape your self-worth. You stop feeding emotions that drain your energy and steal your joy. Forgiveness brings freedom because it allows you to reclaim your future. When resentment rules the heart, hope becomes dim, vision becomes cloudy, motivation fades. But forgiveness clears the fog. It restores direction. It renews strength. It reopens doors that bitterness once closed. Forgiveness gives you the emotional and spiritual freedom to pursue your purpose with a whole heart instead of a wounded one. Ultimately, forgiveness is the doorway to a life of emotional liberty, spiritual clarity, and unshakable inner peace. It is the path to becoming the person you were meant to be: strong, compassionate, grounded, and free. Legacy is built through daily choices. Legacy is not something crafted in a single moment of greatness. It is shaped in the small decisions we make every day. Many people imagine legacy as something grand, something defined by major accomplishments, public victories, or extraordinary achievements. But the truth is far more intimate and profound. Legacy is not what you leave for people. It is what you leave in them. And what you leave in others is created not by rare, dramatic moments, but by the quiet, consistent choices you make from the time you wake up to the time you lay your head down at night. Every day, you are writing your legacy, whether you realize it or not. The way you treat the people around you, the way you respond to pressure, the way you handle failure, the way you speak to those who disagree with you, the way you carry yourself when nobody is watching. All of these choices build the story that others will remember long after your lifetime has ended. Legacy is the reflection of your character, shaped through decisions that seem small today but reveal who you truly are over time. It is easy to believe that legacy is something that will take care of itself, that one day far in the future you will become the kind of person you hope people will remember fondly. But legacy does not wait for the future. It forms now. Every morning gives you another opportunity to choose the type of person you are becoming. You might think your small acts of kindness are insignificant, but they accumulate silently in the hearts of those around you. You might assume your attitude does not matter, but the tone you set can influence the environment in ways you may never fully see. Daily choices create habits, and habits create identity. Your identity becomes your reputation, and your reputation becomes your legacy. If you choose integrity every day, even when it's difficult, integrity becomes part of the foundation of your life. If you choose courage each time fear whispers in your ear, courage becomes a characteristic that others admire and remember. If you choose compassion in moments when anger would be easier, compassion becomes a mark of your presence in the world. One of the greatest misunderstandings about legacy is believing that you need a platform or an audience to build one. You do not need fame, wealth, or recognition to create impact. Legacy is not measured in applause or achievements. It is measured in influence. Influence can come from a simple conversation, a quiet act of service, a word of encouragement, or a moment of understanding. You never know when a single decision might change the direction of someone else's life, because people remember how you made them feel long after they forget anything else about you. Your choices also shape the legacy you leave within your family. The values you practice, the effort you give, the resilience you demonstrate, the love you show, these become part of the emotional inheritance you pass down. Children, friends, and those close to you learn more from your actions than your words. Every choice becomes a lesson. Every response becomes a memory. Every sacrifice becomes a story they will carry long after you are gone. Legacy is also built in moments of challenge. Anyone can make good decisions when life is easy, but the decisions made under pressure reveal your true character. When life pushes you to your limits, when you feel tested, when you face disappointment or betrayal, these are the defining moments where your legacy is shaped most intensely. People remember how you acted when it mattered most, how you stood firm when it was easier to fall, how you treated others when you were hurting, and how you held on to dignity when circumstances threatened to take it away. Your daily choices also influence how you grow. Legacy is not just about what you give to others, it is about who you become. Every choice either brings you closer to your highest potential or pulls you further from it. Growth is a daily decision. Discipline is a daily decision. Gratitude is a daily decision. Kindness is a daily decision. You build your character layer by layer, decision by decision, choice by choice. Over time, you become a reflection of what you consistently choose, not what you occasionally desire. Legacy is also built through your willingness to take responsibility for your life. Many people blame circumstances, others, or even fate for the direction of their journey. But legacy is created when you decide to rise above excuses and take ownership of your choices. Each time you choose responsibility over blame, you strengthen the story of your life. Each time you choose growth over comfort, you elevate your future. Each time you choose to move forward rather than stay stuck in the past, you define your legacy with courage instead of regret. Your daily decisions also influence how you contribute to the world around you. You do not need to change the entire world to build a meaningful legacy. You only need to change your part of the kindness you show today may inspire someone else tomorrow. The encouragement you offer might give someone hope they were about to lose. The strength you demonstrate may empower someone who is watching quietly. Legacy multiplies when your choices ripple outward into the lives of others. Legacy is not built through perfection, it is built through consistency. You will make mistakes. You will have days when your choices fall short of who you want to be. But your legacy is not destroyed by mistakes. It is shaped by how you respond to them. Choosing humility, choosing to apologize when necessary, choosing to learn from failure, choosing to rise after falling, these choices also build a powerful legacy. People remember resilience. They remember honesty. They remember authenticity. Legacy also grows when you live with purpose. When your daily choices reflect your deepest values, your life gains direction and meaning. Purpose gives weight to your decisions. It gives clarity to your actions. It ensures that your life is not simply lived, but lived intentionally. When you choose to align your actions with your purpose every day, your legacy becomes a natural result of a meaningful life. The reality is that you may never fully know the impact of your daily choices while you are alive. You may not see how your words healed someone's heart, how your example inspired someone to try again, how your kindness changed someone's path. Legacy often reveals itself long after the moment is past. What seems small to you may be monumental to someone else. This is why every choice matters. This is why how you live today shapes how you will be remembered tomorrow. Legacy is the quiet echo of your daily decisions carried forward in the lives of those you touch. Every day, with every choice, you are building it piece by piece, moment by moment, step by step. Love fearlessly and authentically. Love is one of the most powerful forces a human being can experience. Yet it is often the one thing we hesitate to give fully. Fear creeps into love's doorway, fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, fear of loss, fear of not being enough, fear of giving more than we receive. These fears build walls around the heart, walls we believe will protect us. But in reality, they imprison us. To love fearlessly and authentically is to tear down those walls and allow yourself to live with an open heart, not a guarded one. Fearless love is not reckless. It is not naive. It does not mean ignoring wisdom or allowing others to mistreat you. Fearless love is courageous love. It is choosing to love despite the risks, because you understand that life becomes fuller, deeper, and more meaningful when you allow yourself to care without reservation. To love fearlessly is to accept that love will always involve uncertainty, but that the beauty it brings is worth every moment of vulnerability. Authentic love begins with honesty, honesty with yourself and honesty with others. Authentic love does not hide behind masks or pretend to be something it isn't. It does not shrink to fit expectations or stretch itself beyond its truth. Authentic love shows up exactly as it is, without pretense. It says, this is who I am. This is what I feel. This is what I value. It allows others to truly know you, not the polished version you present to the world, but the real, imperfect, beautifully human you. To love fearlessly and authentically, you must first learn to love yourself. Self-love is not selfishness. It is the foundation from which all other forms of love grow. Without self-love, you seek validation from others instead of sharing genuine connection. Without self-love, You cling to relationships out of fear of loneliness rather than out of mutual respect. Without self-love, you compromise your values and silence your needs, hoping that love will fill the emptiness you feel inside. But when you love yourself, your strengths, your flaws, your growth, your journey, you become capable of giving and receiving love without fear. You no longer depend on others to complete you. Instead, you meet them as a whole person, capable of deep, authentic connection. Fearless love requires vulnerability. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but in truth, it is extraordinary strength. It takes courage to say, I care, I'm hurting, I'm thankful, or I need you. It takes courage to let someone close enough to see the parts of you that are tender and unguarded. But vulnerability is the doorway to real intimacy. Without it, relationships remain shallow, guarded, and incomplete. Vulnerability allows two hearts to meet in truth, not in performance. Authentic love also requires presence. It means showing up emotionally, not just physically. It means listening with intention, speaking with sincerity, and giving your full attention to the moments you share with someone. Presence is one of the greatest expressions of love because it communicates, you matter, you are worth my time, my focus, and my heart. In a world full of distractions, presence is rare, and that rarity makes it powerful. To love fearlessly is to love without conditions. Conditional love says, I love you if, or I love you when. It ties affection to performance and worthiness to achievement. Fearless love says, I love you because you are you. It sees the soul beneath the surface, the person beneath the behavior, the heart beneath the mistakes. This kind of love does not depend on perfection. It embraces humanity in all its complexity. Authentic love is patient. It understands that people grow at different speeds, that relationships evolve, and that love requires nurturing. Authentic love is patient with flaws, patient with communication, patient with healing. It does not rush growth or force emotion. Instead, it creates a safe space where growth can happen naturally, where hearts can open at their own pace. Fearless love is generous. Not just generous with gifts or gestures, but generous with compassion, understanding, forgiveness, and encouragement. Love expands when it is shared. The more you give, the more abundant it becomes. Generosity in love shows itself in small, consistent acts, a word of affirmation, a moment of listening, a willingness to help, a gentle touch, a sincere apology, a quiet sacrifice. These actions may seem small, but they shape relationships in profound ways. Authentic love respects boundaries. Some people confuse fearless love with limitless access. But true love honors personal limits, its own and others. Boundaries protect connection by ensuring that love is rooted in respect, not control. They allow relationships to grow without suffocation, to deepen without dependency. Respecting boundaries communicates, I care about your well-being, not just my emotional needs. To love fearlessly is to love even when it hurts, not to tolerate abuse, toxicity. Those are boundaries that should never be crossed, but to continue believing in love even after disappointment, betrayal, or heartbreak. Heartbreak often tempts people to close their hearts and protect themselves from future pain. But a heart that never risks love never experiences its fullness. Fearless love says, I have been hurt before, but I will not let pain turn me cold. It chooses hope over fear. Authentic love encourages growth. It does not demand conformity or expect someone to remain who they were yesterday. It celebrates evolution, supports dreams, and welcomes transformation. Love that does not allow growth becomes stagnant, but love that embraces growth becomes a powerful catalyst for becoming the best version of oneself. Fearless love is truthful. It does not hide behind polite silence or avoid difficult conversations. It speaks honestly even when the truth is uncomfortable, because honesty builds trust. Truth spoken with love strengthens relationships, while unspoken truths weaken them from the inside. Authentic love communicates openly, directly, and kindly, knowing that transparency builds a foundation that will last. Authentic love also practices forgiveness. Even the closest relationships experience misunderstanding, hurt, and conflict. Fearless love does not run away at the first sign of imperfection. It stays, communicates, forgives, and rebuilds. It recognizes that forgiveness is not weakness, it is a commitment to healing rather than holding on to pain. Love fearlessly and authentically, because anything less leaves the heart half awake. Love boldly enough to be changed by it, honest enough to deepen through it, courageous enough to remain open in a world that often encourages hardness. Love with a heart unafraid to feel, unafraid to express, unafraid to give, and unafraid to receive. Love in such a way that those around you feel seen, valued, and uplifted simply because you crossed their path. Preparation isn't about death, it's about living fully. Preparation for the end of life is often misunderstood. Many assume it is a somber concept, something dark, something to avoid thinking about until age forces the conversation. But true preparation is not about death itself. It is about learning how to live with depth, clarity, and intention. Preparing for the moment when your life ends is really preparing for every moment before it. It is understanding that your time is not infinite and that each day carries immeasurable value. When you accept this truth, life becomes richer, more meaningful, and more purposeful. Preparing for death is ultimately about choosing to live fully. When you live without awareness of your limited time, it becomes easy to drift. You move from day to day in routine, going through motions rather than truly experiencing them. Life becomes something you survive rather than something you savor. But when you understand that every day is a gift, one you will not possess forever, you begin to treat life differently. You begin to appreciate small moments, notice beauty that once blended into the background, and embrace opportunities rather than postponing them. Preparation awakens gratitude. Preparing for the end of life is also about identifying what truly matters. When you imagine the last chapter of your life, you see what holds real value: relationships, peace of mind, integrity, purpose, love, and the impact you've made. You stop giving your energy to distractions that drain your emotional spirit. You stop wasting time on comparisons, grudges, or meaningless pursuits. You begin to make decisions based on meaning rather than convenience. You become intentional about how you spend your hours, who you spend them with, and what you invest your heart into. Preparation shapes your priorities. It encourages you to build your life on values that endure. You recognize that wealth, achievements, and possessions cannot follow you into the next chapter, but your character can. The kindness you show, the wisdom you share, the compassion you give, these have eternal weight. When you prepare for the end, you begin living a life that resonates beyond the present moment. To live fully, you must also confront your fears. Many people fear death because they fear life, fear living without purpose, fear regret, fear unfulfilled dreams, fear unresolved relationships. But preparation teaches courage. When you face the reality that your time is limited, fear begins to lose its power. You become bolder in your decisions. You pursue dreams you once postponed. You speak words you once held back. You take steps you once avoided because you recognize that waiting has a cost. Preparation is liberation from fear. Living fully also means healing what is broken. Holding on to unresolved pain, lingering guilt, or strained relationships weighs the heart down. Preparing for the end invites you to seek reconciliation, restore connections, and release burdens you've carried for years. It urges you to say the things you've avoided. I'm sorry, I forgive you, I love you, I appreciate you. These words are not just for others, they free you. Healing clears space in your heart for peace to enter. Preparation is also about becoming aligned with your values. When you live with awareness that life is temporary, You begin to examine what you stand for. You reflect on your beliefs, your principles, and your purpose. You begin acting with integrity, not because others are watching, but because you want your life to reflect who you truly are. Authenticity becomes important. You stop pretending, stop performing, stop wearing emotional masks. You desire a life that feels honest, meaningful, and deeply aligned with your true self. Living fully means being present. So many people rush through life always planning for the future, but never fully experiencing the now. But preparation reminds you that the present moment is all you truly possess. When you live with this perspective, you savor conversations, appreciate laughter, notice beauty, and cherish time. You learn to slow down, to breathe, to feel, to reflect. Presence becomes a form of gratitude. Preparation also encourages generosity. When you understand that your time is limited, you begin wanting to give more, serve more, uplift more, and make a difference in ways that outlast your life. You realize that your influence matters, your kindness matters, your contributions matter. Living fully means recognizing that your life can touch others in ways you may never see or understand. Every action becomes an opportunity to leave the world slightly better than you found it. To live fully, you must pursue personal growth. Preparation invites you to develop your abilities, stretch your mind, strengthen your character, and elevate your spirit. Growth becomes a continuous journey rather than a destination. You embrace challenges as destination opportunities to evolve. You learn from mistakes instead of being defined by them. You pursue learning not out of obligation, but out of hunger for wisdom. You allow yourself to transform into someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. Preparing for the end also means embracing simplicity. Life becomes lighter when you release what no longer serves you: unnecessary stress, toxic relationships, unrealistic expectations, emotional clutter, and the constant pursuit of external validation. You begin to focus on what nourishes the soul rather than what impresses the world. Simplicity brings peace, and peace deepens your experience of life. Living fully requires courage to follow your purpose. Many people drift far from their calling because life's demands, expectations, or fears lead them down paths that do not align with their passion. But preparation reminds you that your purpose is not something you should postpone. It is something you must pursue. When you follow your calling, whether it is serving others, creating something meaningful, raising a family with love, building a vision, or healing wounded hearts, you live a life that reflects who you were designed to be. Preparation also invites reflection. It encourages you to examine your journey, acknowledge your growth, and appreciate the lessons you've learned. Reflection helps you see how far you've come and clarifies the steps you still need to take. It strengthens gratitude. It deepens wisdom. It enriches your understanding of life. Furthermore, living fully means embracing joy. Not just the big moments of celebration, but the simple joys: sunlight on your face, the sound of laughter, the comfort of loved ones, the beauty of nature, the taste of your favorite meal, the peace of a quiet morning. Joy is often found in moments we overlook. Preparation opens your heart to recognize and cherish them. To live fully is to live with intention. It is waking up each morning with a sense of purpose, going through your day with awareness, and ending each night with peace. It is choosing love over bitterness, courage over fear, gratitude over resentment, presence over distraction. It is understanding that every breath is part of your story, and your story deserves to be lived with passion, meaning, and authenticity. When you prepare for the end, you begin to understand the true value of each moment. You begin to use your time wisely, love deeply, forgive freely, and live intentionally. You begin to see each day as a chapter in the legacy you are writing, a legacy that will be remembered not by how long you lived, but by how fully you chose to live while you were here. Conclusion. When you step back and look at the journey we've taken, a single truth rises above everything else. Life is brief, but its meaning is limitless. You have been given a finite number of days, yet within those days lies the potential to shape eternity. You cannot control the moment your life ends, but you can absolutely control how deeply, how intentionally, and how courageously you live until that moment arrives. You have learned that life is temporary, yet purpose is eternal. That forgiveness is not weakness but liberation. That your legacy is sculpted not by rare milestones but by the choices you make every single day. That love, fearless, honest, and vulnerable, is the greatest expression of a life fully lived. And that true preparation is not about the moment death arrives, but about how passionately you choose to live before it does. This is your invitation to live with awareness instead of autopilot, with purpose instead of distraction, with courage instead of fear, to release what weighs you down, to embrace what lifts you up, to walk lightly, love deeply, give freely, and rise boldly into the life that is waiting for you. You stand at a doorway, not the doorway of death, but the doorway of possibility. The question is no longer, are you ready to die? The real question is, are you ready to live fully, fearlessly, and intentionally from this moment forward?